illegal immigration. We are being hit hard by judges that I think they're trying to take away the power of the presidency. I was elected in a massive landslide and a big vote. We won the swing states. We won the popular vote. We won the district votes by.
Hey, shout out to my man Daniel Castro. He says, "Can't imagine living in fear of death. Give me liberty." Facts. And I mean, hey, yo, Castro, man, we might need to tell that to our Mexican homies for real, because what's going on over there, man, sounds like y'all just bending the knee to the cartel, and we just can't let y'all go like that.
Tremendous numbers. We won everything. And one of the primary reasons I was elected was to get people out of our country that were allowed. We have prisoners, we have murderers, we have terrorists in our country, we have people from mental institutions that are seriously insane. They all came in through Biden's open border policy, and I was elected to get them out and to seal the border, but to get them out. And we'll have judges, they're activist judges, they're saying, well, you know, you don't have the right to take out murderers and people that you don't even want to talk about. These are really some really bad criminal people, and they're here illegally. So, you know, they talk about your next question will be due process, but they talk about due process, but do you get due process when you're here illegally?
We're going to talk about all of that. We are going to talk about.
It's actually funny because, I mean, shout out to U.S. Gov, but under our laws, if you are eligible for an expedited deportation if you come here illegally and without proper travel documents. We can, like, pretty much, you know, no due process, expedite your deportation. I mean, that's what Biden did, and nobody said nothing to him. But I don't know, man. Trump tried to do the same thing, and he doesn't even do it under expedited deportation. He just does it under the Aliens Enemies Act, and you guys are complaining. I mean, and the worst part about it, like I said, it's for gang members. For gang members. Not for just guys who just crossed the border. It's like, you know what? I can agree with you that those guys can get due process. Why not? I mean, they still need to get the hell up out of here, but why not? But the gang members, yeah, they need to get out of here expedited. Like, that needs to happen today, right now. They don't really deserve no due process because they're part of a terrorist organization. And they've committed crimes against their own people and ours. We shouldn't be playing with them like that.
About deportation, but I want to start on the economy, sir, which obviously the biggest issue for voters. We got new numbers today, better than expected job numbers.
Much better.
At the same time, the economy shrank in the first quarter. You've been arguing all week that this is President Biden's economy.
Hold on.
Is this now?
Hold on, man. I can't let people sit here and lie like this. Do you guys know what the current rate of inflation is right now? It's 2.3%. So guys like this who will sit here and lie or who's just uninformed, yeah, you got to watch out for that. Yes, the current inflation rate is at 2.3%, guys. There you go. And there's the facts.
Your economy, sir?
Well, I think certain aspects of it are. Costs are. I was able to get down the costs, but even that, it takes a while to get them down, but we got them down good. We lost $5 to $6 billion a day with Biden. $5 to $6 billion. And I've got that down.
Nah, shout out Steph, because it is funny though. Like, when you tell these libs that, hey, yo, you know, inflation's down by like 2.3%. And oh, wait, you know that, Trump can send these, you know, these illegal gang members out of here with no due process. You know that, right? They hit you with the,
oh, it was a huge movie. It was the lead. No.
I'm sorry, but we just look at you like, look, man, I don't care how y'all feel, but guess what?
You're going to jail. Lock his ass up. Lock his ass up. You're going to jail. You're going to jail.
I mean, hey, man, read through the Aliens Enemy Act, and trust me, you'll be hushed up just reading through that.
Down to a great number right now in a record time. You know, we're talking about 100 days.
I appreciate it, Steph.
But just think of what that is. $5 billion a day we're losing on trade. And we were very tough with China, as you know. We put 145% tariff on. Nobody's ever heard of such a thing. And we've essentially cut off trade relationships by putting that much of a tariff on. And that's okay. We've gone cold turkey. That means that we're not losing. You know.
And shout out to my man Fox Chase said due process is for being punished unconstitutionally. Deporting back your country is not a punishment. Yeah, due process is, honest to God, yeah, it's being punished unconstitutionally. Deporting you back to your country is not a punishment. Yes, like Kilmore Garcia. Deporting Kilmore Garcia back to El Salvador, where he was born, where he was a gang member in since a teenager. Yeah, that's not really. What punishment is that? Like, tell me how that is honestly hurting this man, sending him back to his own country where he was a gang member, and now he's in a supermax prison. So, hey, man, he's safer than ever.
You know, we lost $1 trillion to China. $1 trillion. That means we're not losing $1 trillion when we go cold turkey, because we're not doing business with them right now. And they want to make a deal. They want to make a deal very badly. We'll see how that all turns out, but it's got to be a fair deal. But think of it, we were losing $1 trillion. And that was a big part of the $5 million a day.
And I want to talk about China, but just staying on this idea of the economy. On the eve of your inauguration, the stock market spiked. You called it the Trump effect.
It spiked because I was elected president.
Well,
it spiked because of anybody else. It spiked because they see what I'm going to do. They know what I'm going to do with the tariffs and everything else. And I think it's actually working out better than we anticipated. Did you see oil prices? Did you see gasoline is now below, in many cases, in many states, below $2 a gallon, $1.98, $1.99, $1.97?
Well, my question, sir, is when the stock market spiked, you said this is the Trump effect. When the numbers weren't so good earlier this week, you said it's the Biden effect. Are you only taking ownership of the good numbers and not the bad numbers?
Well, I think he did a lot of very bad things. And despite some of the bad things, we're overcoming them. But he was bad on the border. He was bad on the economy. We had the worst inflation in the history of our country. Look, Biden gave us the worst inflation in the history of our country.
I mean, yeah, bro. There was times like now, on paper, they said it was like 7 to 9% inflation, and this was by month. By month, they were talking about 7 to 8, 9% inflation under Biden, and then some months it being 10, and they just didn't want to report it, and they just framed it down as like 8 or so, but it was actually 10% inflation some months under Biden. So trust me, you guys really can't talk. I would just say, like, when Amazon wanted to do that whole, let's show how much the price increase show because of Trump's tariffs. I'm like, well, why didn't y'all do that under Biden? I mean, you could easily show it how the price increase are going up because of a 7 to 8% inflation. I mean, why not do that for Biden instead of trying to do it for Trump and make Trump look bad? Why don't y'all expose what Biden was doing? And that's why they had to cancel it, because, well, then Trump got Bezos on the phone, and Bezos was like, who's doing that?
People. It didn't matter what they made because they were losing their shirt because of costs. Now take a look at what happened. Oil is down, gasoline is down, groceries are down, eggs. You were the one that asked me. You asked me about eggs. It was the first week. I didn't even know anything about what were you talking about. Egg prices were so high you couldn't buy eggs. They didn't have any eggs. And they said Easter is going to be a disaster. Well, we had Easter at the White House, and we had thousands of eggs, and they were down 87%.
Yeah, a lot of that, of course, spike was because of bird flu. But when does it become the Trump economy?
Why do you say that?
Well, tell me,
we had the same bird flu as he had.
When does it become the Trump economy?
No, here's the thing, though. I would actually come down on Trump on this. I would actually come down on her like, yeah, but why didn't y'all report that then? See, now you guys want to talk about, it's bird flu. I've been said it was bird flu before mainstream media said it. I was like, it's because of the bird flu. And Biden had to Holocaust a whole bunch of chickens. And that skyrocketed the prices of eggs because there was a scarcity of chickens. That was easy to understand. But everybody wanted to blame it on Trump, going like, Trump said he was going to do this and that. And I'm like, bruh, did y'all not hear about bird flu? And now we're 5 months in, because I've been talking about bird flu since January, but we're 5 months in, and now we're hearing mainstream media talk about, it was bird flu. Where was y'all when he was being pretty much like attacked on it? Where was y'all pretty much saying, all right, guys, let's not come at Trump over the bird flu, over the eggs, because it's the bird flu, and Biden handled that by taking out a whole bunch of chickens. Y'all could have framed it like that and saved face, but yet y'all make yourselves look stupid doing stuff like this.
Economy.
It partially is right now, and I really mean this. I think the good parts are the Trump economy, and the bad parts are the Biden economy, because he's done a terrible job. He did a terrible job on everything. From his auto pen, which I'm sure he knew nothing about some of the things he was supposedly signing, to immigration. You look at what happened with immigration, how bad it was. Think of it. We have murderers 11,888 murders, many of them murdered more than one person. Think of that. And they're in our country. Now, we've gotten a lot of them out, and we know who many of them are, and we're on the hunt. But why would anybody do that? Why would anybody, who could do such a thing where they'd allow hundreds of thousands and even millions of people into our country who are criminals and murderers at the highest level? Who would do this?
But, sir, you acknowledge when you announced your tariffs, for example, the stock market dropped. It's been volatile. It has since gone up.
It is,
do
but
you
now
take
it's going up.
responsibility?
It's crazy when people actually see the stock market like tank like that. Everybody should have seen that as a punch to the to the corporate elites. That's what everybody should have seen it as, and that's what I thought these Democrats believed in. But now that everything has been put in the open, I see that you guys are actually the ones who are for the corporate elites. You are for these guys gutting the middle class and taking their job overseas while being able to sell into here tariff-free. That's what you guys are for. You guys are for the unfair trade that destroys America. And instead of just admitting that, you just want to say, oh, tariffs are bad, Trump is bad, but have no real argument. Like, that is the problem with you guys. And that's why not a lot of people are listening to you right now. Like,
Market dropped. It's been volatile. It has since gone up.
It is,
do
but
you
now
take
it's going up.
responsibility
Look at
for that?
today.
Yeah. Do you
Well,
take
look,
responsibility when it drops?
Ultimately, I take responsibility for everything, but I've only...
Like, if you didn't see that as the corporate elites just trying to scare the American people, dog, then you're too caught up in the TDS, and you Dems have honestly forgot what you guys stand for. If you did not see that as a gut punch to the corporate elites, then you Dems have honestly forgotten what you stand for.
Just been here for a little more than 3 months. But the stock market, look at what's happened in the last short period of time. Didn't it have 9 or 10 days in a row or 11 days where it's gone up? And the tariffs have just started kicking in. And we're doing really well psychologically. I mean, the fake news was giving me such press on the tariffs. The tariffs are going to make us rich. We're going to be a very rich country.
So let's talk about the tariffs. And I want to ask you about something you said this.
Now, I want to make an argument real quick for tariffs so that you guys understand where I'm coming from with this. So a lot of people want to bring up the 1930s as if that's the ding against tariffs that they think it is. They think they got to win, but really they cook themselves by bringing up the 1930s. Because everybody knows in the 1930s, we were a supplier. We was a seller back in the day. And tariffs throughout time has always hurt the sellers, the people who are trying to pretty much send out product, exporters. We were mainly exporters in the 1930s. This is why those tariffs hurt us. Now, the Great Depression was caused by a money tight situation, but adding on tariffs to a country that mainly exports, that's going to hurt. So in today's time, we understand that tariffs hurt us because we was an exporter then. It's crazy how in 2025, we can't understand or apply that same use of tariffs to China and seeing that, oh, wait, we're no longer the exporter. We're the importer now. We buy stuff. They're the exporter now. So that means when we throw on these tariffs, who is it going to hurt? The supplier, the exporter, just like it did in the 1930s. I mean, it matches up all the same.
So we got a lot of attention. You were at your cabinet meeting. You said, quote, I'm going to quote what you said, maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30.
Yeah.
And maybe the $2 will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally. Are you saying that your tariffs will cause some prices to go up?
No, I think the tariffs are going to be great for us because it's going to make us rich.
But you said some don't.
The tariffs on China on his last his last term, did the tariffs on China make prices go up? Or did wages go up? Our American affordability went up? Like, come on now. Everything but prices went up under Trump, and there was tariffs under there too, directly on China, even though China found a way to subvert those tariffs through sending their products through Vietnam or Mexico. This is why you've seen a lot of, made in Mexico, made in Vietnam products over the years.
Are going to cost more. Isn't that an acknowledgement that some prices will go up?
I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have $30. I think they can have $3 or $4.
Bro, that girl want to play leapfrog on her iPad, man. Let's be real.
Because what we were doing with China was just unbelievable. We had a trade deficit of hundreds of billions of dollars with China.
when you say they could have $3 instead of $30, are you saying
I'm saying they don't need to have
Americans could
$30.
see empty store shelves?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
But you're basically saying there could be some supply
I'm
shortages
basically saying
because
we
of
don't
the
have to
tariff.
waste money on a trade deficit with China for things we don't need, for junk that we don't need.
Well,
Man,
prices are already going up on some popular
Whoa,
items,
whoa, whoa, whoa.
tires,
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
strollers.
This is such a dishonest interview already. Prices
No,
are
no.
down on groceries. Prices are
Right.
down for oil. Prices are down for all energy. Prices are
and let me tell you why is like what she's saying is a bit fake news, because now I will say this. Now I will admit this. A price increase can happen in certain situations with tariffs, but it rarely happens because of the variable of competition. A lot of these guys are in an industry where they cannot afford to raise their price, or they will lose out on their market. They will lose out as being the top product or the top 5 product if they raise their prices, and their competitor finds a way to either find a different supplier or take the hit on the overhead side to keep their prices the same. What you guys got to understand is that tariffs is mainly either sent down the supply line on the supplier or the exporter side, or it is split between the exporter and the importer. So it's either the importer takes a little hit on the overhead and finds a way to make it, cheaper to send out the product, or the supplier finds a way to cut their price completely, or maybe fire a couple people or stop operations so they can save money or something, and find a way to make that their goods, that same price before tariffs. Even though the tariffs is on there, they're trying to get back to a pre-tariff, price. And if they can't do that and the importer got options, what you think is going to happen? Yeah, the importer is going to shop around, and that Chinese supplier is going to lose business. And when these Chinese suppliers lose business, this is big business we're talking about. These are factory jobs we're talking about, manufacturing jobs we're talking about, and that gets shut down and these people get laid off.
down at tremendous numbers for gasoline. And let me tell you, when you have the big thing, what he did, he spent like a stupid person, which he was, but he spent like a very stupid person. And that was bad for inflation. But what really killed us with inflation was the price of energy. It went up to $3.90, even $4, and in California, $5 and $6, right? Okay. I have it down to $1.98 in many states right now. When you go that much lower on energy, which is ahead of my prediction, because I really thought I could get it down into the 250s. We have it down at $1.98 in numerous places. But when you say costs are going up, even mortgage rates are going down.
Well, but let me give you
mortgage
some
rates.
examples. These are actual examples. So you're
I mean, inflation is going down. So yeah, our money can buy a little bit more. And yeah, I would see mortgage rates falling with it. Not as fast though, because I have been looking up mortgage rates, and they've went down maybe like half a percentage, maybe. But it's still in downward projection. It could be going a bit faster, admittedly.
saying the prices that are going down, some prices are going up. Tires, strollers, some clothing in the wake of your tariffs.
Excuse me, that's peanuts compared to energy. Energy is 60% of the cost.
But sir, you
energy is the big.
You campaigned on a promise to bring prices down on day.
Well, I don't know. When
one.
you say strollers are going up, what kind of a thing? I'm saying that gasoline is going down. Gasoline is thousands of times more important than a stroller someplace.
But what do you say to Americans who say they voted for you because they want and they need relief right now?
And they're getting it.
Right now? What about those
even mortgage rates?
different items I just
mortgage
mentioned?
rates are going down despite the fact that we have a stubborn Fed.
But you said even dolls could cost a couple bucks more.
Maybe they might, but you don't need to have, as I said, $35. You can have 2, 3, 4 and save a lot of money. We don't need to feed the beast.
I guess you're talking about this transition cost. How long should people expect that transition to last, Mr. President?
And shout out to my man Foley, says, please play the 5-second videos of Fox in the Discord. I got you, big man. I got you.
I can't tell you that. I can tell you that we're making a lot of money. We're doing great. Again, we're losing more than $5 billion a day. $5 billion a day. You don't talk about that. And right now, we're going to be at a point very soon where we're making money every day. Look,
how soon?
We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars with China. Now we're essentially not doing business with China. Therefore, we're saving hundreds of billions of dollars. Very simple.
You take me to my next question, which is about China. They've been making a number.
And shout out to my man Fox Shays. He says some of you need to. He said, yeah, some of you need to leave the basement and go see what prices are. Yeah, exactly. Some of y'all need to step outside your mama's basement, or maybe you need to look at your mama's receipt to figure out where prices are. Okay, guys. Okay. Or maybe, hey, you know what? Let's go on the positive side. You're just so damn rich and liberal that you don't even look at the prices. So you need to go outside and touch grass. Either way.
Of public statements.
Very positive statements the last 24 hours.
Well, and most recently, they said before talks could happen, the U.S. would need to remove unilateral tariffs.
No.
Would you consider dropping the tariffs to get China to the negotiating table?
No. They first of all, you're giving me a statement that
first off, China needs us. Second of all, they're having mass job loss. They're having mass factory shutdowns, not us. So please, we're adding jobs to our economy by the month. They're losing jobs, bro, a massive amount of jobs in their economy by the day. Trust me, you guys want to sit here and listen to CCP propaganda, and you're going to end up looking stupid about 2 months from now when these guys literally flip over on themselves. And little do you know, guess what? China took off the 125% tariffs on American imports. So guess what? We're still making money off China. Ironically, they ain't making no money off us, but we making money off them because they still need our products, but we don't need theirs. I mean, like I said, we got options, baby. We got options.
was said a week ago. You're not giving the statement that was said today.
I have May 2nd Chinese Commerce Ministry.
Do you know what they said today?
The U.S.
We're
wants to
looking
negotiate.
forward-
It should show sincerity by preparing to take actions in correcting its mistakes and canceling the unilateral tariffs.
They made, first of all, they made numerous statements.
Yes, they've made
you know
numerous
how many
statements.
people speak for
Yes.
China? It's like
Yes.
50
They've made numerous
I
statements.
can give you
Yes.
a statement for any occasion.
Yes.
But they said today they want to talk. Look, China, and I don't like this. I'm not happy about this. China's getting killed right now. They're getting absolutely destroyed. Their factories are closing. Their unemployment is going through the roof. I'm not looking to do that to China. Now, at the same time, I'm not looking to have China make hundreds of billions of dollars and build more ships and more army tanks and more airplanes.
So you're not, just to be very clear, you're not dropping the tariffs against China to get them to the negotiating table. Those tariffs are staying on.
Why would I do that?
Would you lower them?
At some point, I'm going to lower them because otherwise you could never do business with them.
Yeah.
And they want to do business very much. Look, their economy is really doing badly. Their economy is collapsing.
So small businesses say they are being hurt by the Chinese tariff.
And shout out to my man Daniel Castro. He says, it's first to be better thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. You libs are lying to yourselves, disingenuous as fuck. Shame on you. Oh God, shame. For shame. And damn, my man Castro came from the hip. Man.
And some could be forced to shut
and
down.
Many businesses are being helped.
Are you
Look at the
considering
automobile
tariff
business.
relief for small businesses?
Why do you always mention that, you pick up a couple of little businesses? What about the car business? They're going to make a fortune because of the tariffs. Do you know that the union, the head of the union, who was no fan of mine, Sean Fain, I guess his name is, right? He didn't endorse me. The Teamsters did. A lot of people did. A lot of unions did. But he didn't. He couldn't stand me. Now he's saying, wow, what's Trump's done for the automobile? I can't believe it. I assume he's going to probably now say the next thing he can say is, I endorse this guy. He's the greatest I've ever seen. He can't believe it's happened. He said, we've been waiting 40 years for somebody to do what Trump is doing. So why don't you mention the big car industry instead of mentioning...
He's like, everyone, put in the chat how many hours you work a week. Man, bro, if I do that, you're going to make me tired. I'm going to get myself tired just writing it. I'm like, I got to start over and do it again.
Somebody that's doing strollers.
Well, I'm just asking you about small businesses. Are there any discussions about giving any relief to small businesses?
They're not going to need it.
Okay.
They're going to make so much money.
Are these tariffs?
If you build your product here. Remember, there are no tariffs if you build your product here. It's very easy. It's very simple.
Are these tariffs permanent, Mr. President?
Depends on what you're talking about. One of the things that is going to bring and has brought... So I think we probably have close to $9 trillion of investments coming into this country. If you look at other presidents, there's never been anything like that. This is over a period of 2 months. You got to give me a little break on the 1 month because we're 3 months. But, let's say we had to get started. We had a lot of fake news at the beginning, so we had to beat that down. But so let's say in 2 months. So in just a short period of time, a matter of a couple of months, we have the largest number ever in history invested in the United States and committed.
Yeah,
we have between guaranteed spoken for and people that are going to make a decision and announce it pretty soon, close to $9 trillion. We've never had anything close. Now, that's Apple building $500 billion.
And if you don't know, my man did hold a whole investment, meeting, I guess. And yes, you can look it up and find it on YouTube. Yes, my man Trump definitely did have an entire meeting with all these company CEOs, and had them come up and announce how much they're investing into America, either through manufacturing or R&D, R&D, research and development, all this stuff, all this money, billions of dollars that they're investing in American to build factories here, or just build data centers, because some of them aren't building factories, they're building data centers to give American jobs. And the libs are against this. Y'all against this. I mean, some of y'all honestly look down on factory work and don't understand that. Somebody literally said, I can't believe you think factories are the future. I'm like, factories are the past, present, and future. They're how we got shit done in the past. They're how we get shit done now, and they most definitely will be how we get shit done in the future. So y'all gotta chill.
Worth of plants. They always built their plants in China. Now they're building their plants over here. That's the biggest computer company, the biggest chip company in the world. The chip company from Taiwan, which is the biggest in the world, is committed for $500 billion. Another one's committed for $300 billion. We have companies, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And let me tell you the other thing, very importantly, automobile companies, plant after plant after plant, Toyota, Honda, Ford, General Motors, Stellantis. I mean, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I don't like this, but it happens to be. They're stopping work in Mexico and they're stopping work in Canada, and they're all moving here.
This is important, though. You're not taking the possibility that these tariffs could be permanent off the table. Some of them.
Oh, I wouldn't do that, because if somebody thought they were going to come off the table, why would they build in the United States?
Let me ask you
You
about,
understand that, right?
Yeah, but that's why I'm asking, because there's a lot of, I think, uncertainty for CEOs, for business owners. They want to know, are these tariffs permanent?
I think there's only uncertainty in the fake news. I don't think there's uncertainty. I mean, I've been very rigid, very strong on it, but I will say I'm flexible. With respect to parts made outside of the country, I gave the automobile companies a little extra time. You're talking about 15% and then 10% of the parts put in a car. I gave them a little extra time without penalizing them. And I did that only to help, companies. We're looking to help companies. We want them.
Hey, and shout out to my man Fox Chase coming in. He says, all of you putting all of the hours you have every bit to complain and demand more from your government. The rest, not so much. I mean, yeah, for every hour, trust me, they take taxes out of that. So we do have every right to demand out of our government. And we do have the right to be pissed off about any amount of tax money that gets spent, recklessly.
Them to thrive and to hire a lot of people. And that's what's happening.
Let me ask you about some of what Wall Street has said. Some people on Wall Street have expressed concerns that the possibility of a recession is increasing. And I want to know what you think about that. Are you comfortable with the country potentially dipping into a recession for a period of time if you are able to achieve your long-term goals?
Well, you say some people on Wall Street say, well, I tell you something else. Some people on Wall Street say that we're going to have the greatest economy in history. Why don't you?
When we start listening to the corporate elites on Wall Street, the very people that was profiting off sending jobs outside of America. Oh, we're going to listen to these guys now. Okay. Okay. Why not? Yeah, let's just do what the corporate overlords want us to do, guys. And let's drop the tariffs and let China continue to screw us over. Okay, liberal media. Yeah, that's real pro-American, y'all. And shout out to Cultural Leotard. Hey, appreciate the support, sis. And hey, welcome back. Actually, I think I seen you in here yesterday. But shout out. Could America come back from the NAFTA agreement? Does anyone believe we can? You know what? Maybe. Actually, hold on here.
talk about
little
them
bit more
because some
under that.
people on Wall Street say this is
Well,
the
that's what I'm
greatest thing
getting
that ever
at. That's
happened.
what I'm getting
There
at,
are
though.
many-
It's
there
the
are many
same
people,
question.
Yeah, there are many
Yeah.
people on Wall Street say this is going to be the greatest windfall ever happened.
And that's my question.
Remember
The
this.
long term.
Yeah.
Is it okay in the short term to have a
Remember
recession?
this. Look, everything's okay.
I mean, I think we already. Hold on. I think we already kind of broken that agreement. Because well, yeah, it was a trade agreement signed by Canada, Mexico, and the United States, which took effect in 1994. Its primary goal was to eliminate tariffs and other trade barriers between the three countries, creating a free trade zone in North America. Whoa, 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 whoa! What the fuck happened to that? Because that's not what's going on at all, and it's not us. Let's be real. Like Canada been broken that agreement with how much, like, well, with the trade limitation on dairy products. And if you go over that trade limitation, you get hit with a 200% tariff. Yeah, I thought, like, I mean, the way I'm reading this NAFTA agreement, that wasn't even supposed to be allowed. I mean, Mexico helping China to ship in their goods to send them to pretty much ship to Mexico, well, from China to Mexico and send into America. That's not fair trade. So I'm be honest with you, Canada and Mexico already violated that agreement like long before we even threw tariffs on these guys.
We are. I said this is a transition period. I think we're going to do fantastically. One of your colleagues on another fake news station, ABC, said, "Do you?"
So, you know, any Canadian or Mexican want to bring that up, go like, all right, well, why are you going ahead and subverting American tariffs by helping China ship, their products into your country? And I would come at Mexico with that question. Like, you want to talk